want to talk to you about your letter that you received from Charles Manson today. What did it say in the letter about Squeaky?
Oh, let's see. Turn it off.
Okay. What did it have to say?
This is just a part and the good people who are called bad.
The word canonized sounds like a religious order. Do you consider yourself a member of a religious order?
In a sense. In one sense, yes.
Well, when company comes, you always stick the dirt in the back.
What do you mean by that?
They weren't born rebelling. They weren't born with the anger and frustration that they have. That had to be put on them by somebody. Somebody created them. It's as if your outside world programs people into education and knowledge. The inside unprograms people to wisdom and understanding. In other words, you have two thoughts.
Make sure that you're...
You know, I mean, I understand what you're saying, and I can see where you're saying it from, but it's not really reality. The only reality is that I'm going back in the cell, and that you got me locked up in a cell. That's reality. And then you say that I did all these things that you say I did, which I know I didn't do, and you know I didn't do. But it's easier for you to think that I did, because it all gives you a position. Because if I hadn't done all these things, then you guys would all be wrong. Certainly you're not going to be wrong. You got to be right. See, we're all got.
What about that other one about the desert? What about the thing about...
The reality is that I'm going back in the cell, and that you got me locked up in a cell. That's reality. And then you say that I did all these things that you say I did, which I know I didn't do, and you know I didn't do. But it's easier for you to think that I did, because it all gives you a position. Because if I hadn't done all these things, then you guys would all be wrong. And certainly you're not going to be wrong.
We appreciate that.
Yeah, I think I'm well organized here, but this is the 13th, so hold on.
Well, I won't influence or unbrainwash people that you already brainwashed.
No, that's
Or we'll put the guys that oppose me over here in this hole, and I'm on the horse and staying limit. So what I'm thinking is, like, that's what I'm thinking. You know, you got two choices there. You got either lock me up in the desert so I won't influence your present society, and I won't influence the people that you're influencing, or I won't influence or unbrainwash the people that you're already brainwashed. Or we'll put the guys that oppose me over here in this hole, and
actually, he doesn't believe in that. He doesn't think anything's wrong with him, so he doesn't want any psychiatric help.
What does he talk about these days when he talks?
Let's see. He talks a lot about having another trial, a retrial. He feels that he never got a trial in the past, and because he wasn't allowed to defend himself, and therefore he keeps bringing that up constantly. Ever since I've known him, he wanted to represent himself.
What do you mean when you say he's much today like he was when he got here?
Well, he doesn't show much remorse for the killings, you know. And he talks the same. He sounds the same. He's got the same attitude that he had when I first met him.
Which is what, kind of? How would you know?
There's times when he's He's a very peaceful, very lovable person, and then there's times when he's very, he goes into rages and gets extremely upset with things, and that's how he is.
If you didn't know when he was here,
You want to hear at you. He's able to do that with you know, I've never met anybody that can do that the way he does it. You know, it's just very.
there was a specific example of that.
Well, if he thinks you want him to act angry, he'll act angry. If he reflects back on you what he wants, what he thinks you want to hear, and he does this very cleverly.
The superintendent was saying that there's something about his eyes, which of course everyone has heard before. Do you get that feeling? Does he use them?
Well, he just has a knack about him. He's a very persuasive person, and he does have a stare that's frightening at times.
Also, he has had 47 disciplinaries since his commitment to the institution, and 4 of these have been for assaults on staff, assaults on officers. As late as this year, he struck an officer in the mouth. These actions and this misconduct indicates that he is not suitable at this time. Primarily, the panel felt that the enormity of the crimes, the cruelty involved, the tortuous killing of Gary Hinman, these are the things that we called to Mr. Manson's attention in denying him suitability, in which he was personally involved in striking the first wound with his sword, severing off a part of Mr. Hinman's ear, resulting in his death 3 days later, where he was stabbed to death by Mr. Manson's crime partner, indicates his lack of suitability. Well, the fact remains that you know, as we pointed out to him at the finish, when you consider the safety of the public and you consider the risk to the public that is involved, and also uniformity, parity, you know, for the commission of 9 murders involved. Now, he's charged with 8 murders, but actually there were 9 murders involved, but the penalty on the murder of Shea was might give him so many years on each offense, or so many years for each murder, and feel that in the interest of uniformity and fairness and protection of the public and gravity of the offense and all these factors, that you're going to make these consecutive, make these years consecutive. And so you give him a date, you know, sometime in the future. But first, you must find him suitable. And as I mentioned to Mr. Manson, at this time, he is clearly not suitable based upon his psychiatric reports, his own statements, his own attitude, really, which reflected that he was not suitable. And he stated that he was not ready to go out into society. He did not want to go out into society.
Analogize the murders and blame the murders on the Vietnam War, that these were all ills of society, that he really wasn't as responsible for these murders as we as a society were. He tried to diminish his responsibility for the murders, saying that he really didn't tell Watson to go to the Tate House and commit the murders, that he just told Watson to go and do what he thought was right. That in the Hinman murder, that he admitted that he cut Hinman's ear off, but denied that he wanted there to be a robbery or directed Beausoleil to kill Hinman. He didn't talk about the Shea murder at all. He talked about the LaBianca murder and admitted that he went in the LaBianca house, but denied that he ordered Watson and Van Houten and Krenwinkel to kill the LaBiancas.
Is any of that new?
Well, Charlie's been denying his role for years, not so much on the record, but off the record. It's not... I think that today we kind of got to the furthest point about him admitting...
Nothing, no to write. Drop me a line, Charlie Evans. Why is that important to the world
It comes,
in general?
okay. Now, we have to look, you know, Abraham Maslow, he's a research psychologist, distinguished American psychologist. And look at the word kook that you're saying. There's authentic kook and there's a fraud. There's the phony kook. And so I can distinguish between who's the real kook and who's not.
Was Manson
Is
fall
he
in that category?
no, he would be like an authentic kook. Yeah, he has power, and he used that power. And what does Manson say to get into contact with the souls of people? That's what I wanted to know. I wanted to be tuned into his power.
Well, what does it mean when you say he's a fool and a dumb child?
Oh, that means exactly. You want to send him. And so I call it the anonymous outlaw, that's me, and meeting the real outlaws.
Manson has been at the Vacaville facility almost 90 days. His counselor here says he's courteous, cooperative, and he's got a good attitude. Prison officials don't know for sure whether he's in a death list or not, but they do say there's no foolproof way of preventing it. Ginger Rutland, KCRA News, Vacaville.
I think so in a way.
Do you?
Yes. Well, I don't know. It just seems like it's the same thing over and over when they're always repeating the same things. And I'm getting kind of tired of it.
I think it's giving them a platform, and I think people ought to be aware of it. It's hard to say how far you go with freedom of speech and how far you limit it.
It seems to me that the position they've taken is to an extreme and doesn't merit too much attention.
Should what they say be covered?
Yes, I think so.
Why?
Well, it's the public interest. Everybody wants to know what's happening, and I want to know.
I think perhaps some of the threats they are making shouldn't be too well publicized because it gives other people the idea to follow them out for them.
So that mail goes into that slot, it is picked up and sorted out, and it is distributed during on the third watch, which is in the afternoon. That just looks like it is possible that they could have been sent out in some of the mail that might have been marked confidential. It is possible that it could have been sent out by other inmates.
So do you think he has the power to carry out his threats?
Oh, it's a possibility that he can influence other people to carry out.
I don't have the authority to say anything like that.
You have the authority to believe.
I believe what I'm told to believe. Don't you?